Hi everyone, welcome to an After Sunset Sunday. I'm glad you guys are all here. I'm actually running a little bit behind getting things set up, so bear with me just a minute. I'm going to work on getting everything going because that's not been the case today at all. So I'm glad you guys are here. How are you doing? Please put in the chat how things are going for you. And let's make sure that I've got everything going on my side as well. That is literally how my day has gone. I see I've got 6 people in the chat and 5 likes. Thank you guys so much for that. I appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And let me make this chat bigger so I can see it from a distance. And pop it out so I can actually read it. All right, so I've got Judy and Katie and Glenda in the chat. I've got Chloe and Andrea and Glenda and Melina and Patricia and Linda. Thank you so much, you guys. You guys are absolutely fantastic. Hi, Laura. Welcome in. All right, so let's see what I missed. Let's see. Andrea says, howdy, everyone. Halftime. I'll be doing triple duty here. Kansas City, Louisiana game and working on our Kansas City and Los Angeles game and working on a quilt. No worries, Andrea. No worries at all. Oh my gosh, you guys. It has been a Sunday. Let me tell ya. Welcome in, Kathy. Welcome in, Jennifer. Glad you guys are here. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Let me put my phone on silent. And get this thing turned off so I don't have unexpected interruptions. Oh, I actually went and took a nap earlier today. I really kind of needed it. It's been one of those days. It's just been one of those days. Let me get my machine going. I've been back in here and I've been sewing for the last several hours. But I have not been sewing on this, so you guys get to see this. Welcome in, Pam. Glad you made it. She says, hi, Tammy and everyone. Welcome, welcome. All right, so we're going to work again on the one where I got the picture for the pattern. So this is the one where it had the black squares and then and we're going to do the white squares for half of them, and we've got 32 blocks total. So we're going to work on just getting some of that stuff sewn and chatting and all of that. I know I have been asked whether or not there is yardage requirements or expectations for the project on December 14th. The paper piecing pattern. I know quite a few of you guys have downloaded that. If you haven't, there's a link in the community tab. Laura says, Tammy, you're right. It's been right. I mean, it has been one of those kinds of days. Absolutely one of those kinds of days. And I've definitely needed the time sewing. So I've gotten the time sewing, but it's not been enough time sewing. I'll just put it that way. There's just not been enough of it. Thank you, Katie. She's reminding y'all, hit that thumbs up, like button. I appreciate it. YouTube rewards me for you guys liking the content or disliking it, just as long as you guys are engaging with it. YouTube doesn't care either way. Kathy says it's been a day too. Oh my gosh, you guys. What is this world coming to? I'm going to put a couple pins in my mouth. Please do not come after me. Please do not come after me. I'm going to pin these up here. Once I put a pin in my mouth, I do not talk at all. Welcome in, Nancy. Glad you are here. If I put a pin in my mouth, I always put the ball end in my mouth. If I'm going to put a pin in my mouth, I do not recommend you guys do it. Please do as I say, not as I do. This is definitely one of those you don't want to be doing as I do on that. But those are the 2 blocks. I know they're really busy. Let's see. Have I ever seen an 86-year-old man pout? Well, let me tell you, it's worse than a toddler. You have made my night, Laura. You have made my night. I'm going to move this over. I've actually been in my tank top all day, not even in my sweatshirt. Welcome in, Shelby. She says, hi, everyone. Made it after all. Just relaxing after playing my violin in a Christmas concert this afternoon. Oh, my gosh. You can come play your violin for me anytime. I will not mind. Katie says, I don't know why anyone would complain about putting a pen in the mouth. I do it all the time. Okay. I will tell you. I will tell you. There are a lot of nurses and ER doctors who will tell you, please don't put things like that in your mouth, because let's say I hiccuped and it went down my throat, or I stubbed my toe and opened my mouth and inhaled. You don't want pins going down your throat. So yeah, it's not a good idea. I don't recommend doing it. Please don't copy me and do that. But that is why they say don't put things like that in your mouth, is because you could accidentally have an episode that causes you to inhale. And, I mean, even a burp or hiccup or whatever can cause you to inhale enough to have complications. And pins are sharp enough that they can be major complications. Kathy says that she had her granddaughter overnight, and at 12:30 she woke up screaming. Had no sleep at that point. My husband got up and did duty around 2 a.m. I do not blame you, Kathy. That's a lot. Laura says, Chloe, I won't go into details, but geez. Okay, my husband is 61. He can have a tantrum just like a toddler. So I completely understand. Hi, welcome in, Terry. Glad you made it. Linda's working on her sunbonnet Sue and Farmer Phil quilt blocks while she watches. I actually have a sunbonnet Sue that Kennedy has been slowly helping me take apart. I want to re-quilt it because I'm not happy with the quilting. But I have not gotten to do that yet. But it is not completely taken apart. So I have a sunbonnet Sue. It will eventually get to the point where it is getting redone, but we're not there yet. Glenda says, oh no, Kathy, I hope she's okay. I agree. Chloe said, poor thing, Kathy, how's she now? How is the granddaughter? Shelby says, I managed to train myself to not put pins in my mouth, only revert to old habits occasionally. Yeah, see, I do not, this is the only place where you guys will see me do that. If I ever am out in public or anything like that, I don't do it. So like retreats or whatever, I don't do that. Laura says, hey now, Tammy, I'm 61 and I don't throw tantrums like he does. That's okay. You don't have to. It's a guy thing. It's a 61-year-old guy thing. Let's see. Kathy says her mom failed to tell me she had night terrors. She was perfectly fine once she got back to sleep and got rest. She was a perfectly happy baby after that. That's good. That's very good. All right, I'm going to make sure real quick that I do have the right colors and the right stacks. I do. Okay. So I sewed some white ones last time, but we are going to sew some black ones tonight. I'm going to move this camera. Sorry, you guys. I am not going around and doing 15 million camera swaps tonight. So we are just going to go with what I have. Okay. I think I'm going to leave the camera there. I don't know that I really have any good adjustments I can make without doing other things. So yeah, Laura says it is definitely a guy thing, right? It is. Chloe says night terrors are scary for the parent and child. Yes, they are. Aw, thank you, Katie. Nikolai is sending his hellos to all of us. He's on the phone. That's awesome. Thank you, Katie. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. All right, so we are going to do some rotation. Let me see if I can put this where you guys can see it. So I'm just trying to make sure that my colors that are on the outsides are not going to be repeated, as, you know, I want to get some variety in my colors on the outside edges. So that's my main goal, is so that I don't have multiple fabrics that are the same thing. And I want to make sure that all of my black and whites are exactly where they need to be, which they have to be in. So we are good, and we can start sewing some partial seams. Yeah, we're just gonna sew tonight. That is all we're doing. Kathy says, and this Gigi was pretty frightened as well. We were in the recliner watching a movie. Yeah. My husband. Okay, so night terrors are very much like PTSD attacks in adults who have PTSD, or they can be, or adults with PTSD can have an equivalent to a night terror, or they can have a clinically diagnosed night terror. And my husband has had some of those, and let me tell you, kid or adult, they're awful. They're absolutely awful. Let's see. My son used to have them, says Laura. Yeah, they're bad. They're bad. Maybe she will grow out of them. I used to have a lot of nightmares as a child. I don't know that they would have been classified as night terrors, but I definitely had a lot of nightmares as a child. So I'm not sure. Chloe says, very nice, Linda. I'm working on Andrea's mystery quilt salon. First time sewing this weekend. I sewed a little bit yesterday, not as much as I would have liked, but I did sew yesterday. I actually have something I have to get sewn before tomorrow, and I have not worked on it at all. In true procrastinator form, I have not even touched working on it, but I finally come up with what I'm going to do. Let's see, they're thinking this has something to do. Yeah, it could be. It definitely could be. Definitely not something that Kathy has ever experienced. Yeah, you've been blessed to not have to experience that. It is rough. It is definitely rough. And it could be due to deployment. It could actually be due to any kind of number of nightmares. Okay, so I want to know what you guys think real quick. I have got to make a name tag. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the one that doesn't match all the rest from Land That I Love. I'm going to take and I'm going to put a piece of fabric on the top here, and I'm going to put the name on this piece of fabric, and then I'm going to quilt and bind it. What do you guys think about that for a name tag? Do you think that would be a cute name tag? Should I put the name on top or should I put the name on bottom? You guys let me know. Should I put the name on top or bottom? Or what? How should I do it? I love it, Shelby. Thank you. You're enabling me. You know that, right? She says, lol, I prefer the term deadline driven. Yeah. I'm definitely deadline driven. You got it the first time, Kathy. Laura, I'm 63 and don't either. My husband's 67. He can throw fits, but his last surgery not working and has to go back. Oh no! Thought he would have fit. He shot me. He hasn't as of yet. Oh, that's good. That's good that he hasn't had a fit about it. But oh my gosh, I'm sorry that his surgery didn't work. That's rough. Cause you get all those expectations. Welcome in, Jean. Glad you made it. Glad you're here. Thank you. Sundays are definitely just a sit and chat kind of night, as much as they can be. So the other day when I was at my sewing thing on, oh yes, Team Enabler, says Shelby. Oh, that's evil. You should not enable me like that. Actually, you should just keep on. I shouldn't say you shouldn't. Just keep on. I should not dampen your spirit of engagement. What do you guys think about putting the name at the top or at the bottom? So if I was doing this as a name tag, what do you think about the name at the top or the bottom? I'm going to do it one or the other. It's the quickest, fastest, easiest way I can think of. So you guys let me know. I'm not going to do it on the live tonight because I've got to gift it tomorrow. So I have to get it done tonight. So after the live tonight, that's what I'm going to be working on first before I go back to the temperature quilt. Nancy says, they said that the blockage in his vein is like bone. Ouch. Ouch, ouch. Chloe says top. Pam says top. Terry says bottom. Providing alternative solutions, says Kathy. Right. Y'all are dangerous. I like you. Y'all are dangerous. I like you. Laura says, Nancy, I'm so sorry. I'm be praying for you. My father has no excuses. I waited on him hand and foot, and I wasn't moving quick enough. I told him you have to wait. He's been pouting since. Oh. Well, you could always offer to sprain his ankle for him. If he has a sprained ankle, then he might be moving a little bit slower too, Laura. Oh, Terry says, I love your sweatshirt. Thank you. My husband picked this out. He picked it out and bought it for me. And I actually wore this yesterday at the parade. Laura says, my husband had shoulder surgery on the 2nd. I was helping him when I asked Dad to wait. I don't blame you. I don't blame you one bit. Grown men can wait. I know they can't wait long, but they can wait. Oh, gotta love it. Gotta love it. At least they're good at using their words, right? At least we've gotten them to the stage where they are using their words. Oh, can you tell I've had toddlers before? Oh. So I went to the Christmas parade last night, and the last year when we went to the Christmas parade, it was so cold. Shelby says, Laura, you could tell him a rooster's going to come sit in his lip if he keeps pouting. Oh, gosh. Y'all are going to give me ideas that are going to get me in trouble later. You know that, right? Just saying. I'm going to get in trouble because I'm going to open my mouth and say something. I'm going to open my mouth and my subscribers are going to come out. Oh, Nancy says, oh, Laura, you have double trouble praying for you. Yeah, exactly, right? But so last year I went to the Christmas parade and we ended up leaving early. I finally hit the point of I can't handle this any longer. Because last year I was to the point that I was frozen. And we were wearing ski pants. I hadn't heard the rooster one. Our phrase was, you keep sticking that lip out, and, they'll give you, what is it? They'll give you a way to make it permanent or something like that. Like, I don't remember the exact phrasing. Chloe says, never heard that phrase before. I've heard it, but I haven't used it. I'd heard it, but it's been a while since I heard it, but I've never used it before. Alright, my iron's out of water, so I can't do a whole lot of steam. So we're just going to do what we can do. Alright, so I've got one black one done. We're just going to keep going with black for right now. And we're just going to pile them up. And let's see. I'm just going to keep changing the order a little bit as I go. That way I don't have a lot of copies of the same thing over and over. Because that's one thing I want to avoid, is I want to avoid having carbon copies. Alright, that's good enough. Now, one of the phrases that I got to hear a lot is if you are pouting or crying, the phrase was something along the lines of, if you don't stop, I'll come over there and whip you with a wet noodle, or I'll whip you with a wet feather. And I don't know where that phrase came from, but it worked for the youngest for a little bit. And it didn't really work for my son that much. Like, my son didn't take to that phrase. My stepdaughter did for a little bit. It worked on her for just a fraction of a moment. And then I don't know, like, I can say it to grown adults now, and it makes them stop and think for a second, and it's so funny sometimes making a grown adult stop and think. Laura says I was born and raised in the Midwest. Maybe it's a Midwest thing. It's possible. It's possible. Kathy says ours was I'll give you something to cry about. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of that in the Southeast. We definitely had the give you something to cry about. That was the one that we heard in the grocery store, especially if we were crying about something we wanted that we saw in the store. That was the one we got a lot of, was the cry, give you something to cry about. Chloe says, I heard that phrase too. Know that one very well, Kathy. Yeah, exactly. So last night, speaking of kids, last night I was at the parade, and this little one, I took the wheelchair. So in case you guys wonder how I managed it, I took the wheelchair. I have an electric wheelchair. They prescribed it to me because I fatigue so easily sometimes. And when we're talking windy, crowded, and possibly chilly, it's a safer bet that I can get to and from where I need to go in the wheelchair. When I might or might not be struggling even using the walker. Yesterday, or was it this morning? Yes, this morning I stumbled like walking up a couple of steps this morning. So, you know, there's just days. But there's a little girl, and she was tall enough standing up that she was the same height as me sitting in my electric wheelchair. So electric wheelchair, it puts you up higher than a regular wheelchair might. But, you know, she was the same height as me sitting in the electric wheelchair. So I waited for a little bit, made sure that that's where I figured she was going to stand the whole parade. And I let her know, I was like, okay, you know, you're the same height standing that I am sitting in this chair. You know, please keep an eye out, you know, see if I can see the parade. And she was great about it, and complimented her hat and everything else. You know, she was fantastic about it. Then her mom and her grandmother decided to come up and stand closer to her and her brother, and they had the little one with them. And then mom and grandmother proceeded to block my view most of the parade. So I was fighting to see. Let's see. Kathy says, yep, and knew better, zip it quick. Yes, absolutely. That give you something to cry about. We didn't mess with that one. That was the end all phrase. Jean says, yes, here too in California. I'll give you something to cry about in the 60s. Yes. Laura says, Kathy, I'll give you something to cry about was a staple in my home as a child. Says Laura. And Judy says, my dad would always tell us to keep it up and run you into next week. Oh, I would love that phrase, because I would have come up with a comeback for that one, Judy. I think that's why my parents didn't use that one. I would have come up with some kind of comeback. Now, whether or not I said it out loud, that's a whole nother issue. I probably wouldn't have said it out loud because I would have been too scared to. But I would have thought it. I definitely would have thought one. So I took a slightly different approach with my little one. When he was little, I just would start to count. And you didn't let me count one and be done. Because once I counted one, if you had not fixed whatever it was when I got done counting, then you were looking for, you know, what was coming. Oh, Kathy says when we got older, I will knock you into next year, maybe when we're getting mouthy. Yeah, I never got that one. That one never came my way. I don't think I was very mouthy as a teenager, at least not to my parents. I would have been mouthy to my friends and maybe mouthy to my teachers, but I wouldn't have been mouthy to my parents. Welcome in, Susan. She says, good evening, Tammy and everyone. Welcome, welcome. I love your show and tell. That was fantastic to see. I saw it over on Becca's channel. I was going, please, please, please. I hope she puts it in my channel too. Oh. So, my thing with the kids was always, I started counting. And you know what? It works really, really well for the husband too. In case you guys are wondering, it works fantastic for the husband. Kathy says that she was mouthy sometimes. I don't think I was mouthy. Glenda says we were sent to get the switches, and if we came back with a small one, we get switched twice as bad if they had to go get it. Yes, absolutely. If I had been able to send my son to go get his own switch, you better believe that it would have been 3 times as worse if I had to do it myself. Kathy says, I know it doesn't seem like I would be that way, but as I was a little rebel and yeah, you seem like that. I'm sorry, but you do. I see the other side. Laura says, I didn't use those phrases with my kids, but if I was whispering to them, they would run to their rooms. I would never yell at them. Oh gosh. That sounds dangerous, Laura. Yeah. She starts whispering. Laura starts whispering and we all start to worry. What have we done now? Oh. So, my husband, it's hilarious. You guys, he'll mouth off and say something. Susan says that her thing when she was young, she didn't want to rock the boat as her older siblings did. Yeah, exactly. The whisper scared them. I bet. I think the whisper would have scared me too, Laura. I think I would have been more scared of the whisper. Oh. That would have been perfect. Yeah. I could totally see doing that one. So let's see. Patricia says I could scare my kids with just the look. I had that too. I did scare the kids with the look. Once they got to be teenagers, the look took on a whole new meaning because the look was always accompanied with getting really quiet. They didn't want me to get quiet. My stepkids knew, they figured it out pretty quickly, that when I got quiet, I was thinking, and you didn't want me thinking about all the options. Kathy says, according to what it was, if I told my children to pick up things and they didn't, all I had to do was grab a garbage bag and they were up like, oh my gosh, yeah. I think that would have worked on me too. Susan says, my kids knew if I got quiet, it meant I was angry about something. The finger snapping and the look. Oh my gosh. Yeah, mine. So my husband doesn't. Okay, so when I say my husband gets in trouble, it's nothing bad. He's like, he says things without thinking, and he thinks he's like all that in a bag of chips with it, and it's not. He's just stepping out of bounds, right? You know, as men do. And I will start counting, so I like start at 3. I don't even start at 10 with my husband. I start at 3, and I'll go 3, 2, and he'll like, okay, I take it back. He doesn't even let me get to 1, because 1, 9 times out of 10 involves me going to Netflix, and I go in and add a whole bunch of kids shows to his profile. So every time he goes into Netflix, he sees all of these kids shows like Thomas the Train and such, and Trolls and Barbie, and he sees all these kids shows, and he is very much not a kids show person. So he sees all that, and he's like, no more kids shows. Oh, Judy says, I always told my kids that it's time to go to the bathroom. They knew my mother was coming out. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I never had that problem. I never got away with that one. When I was raising kids, I always lived far enough away from my parents that my parents coming out always meant that, you know, it was a time to celebrate and hang out and relax and all of that. It was never my parents coming out to come discipline or anything else. And then my son got mad at me one time because my parents disciplined him for something he did that he while he was under their roof, and he wanted me to do something about it. I said, "What do you want me to do?" And he's, well, you tell her she was wrong. I was like, no, I'm not telling my mom she was wrong for disciplining you for something you did. Kathy says, funny how my kids always stayed pretty good in the car. I can guess that large wooden spoon worked wonders. If we were out in public, I would always say the spoon is in my purse. Oh my gosh. Laura says, my husband has been in trouble. He bought a car without telling me about it once. I'm pretty sure he'll never do that. Oh, no. I can bet he wouldn't. That's a pretty big one to get in trouble for. Buying a whole car. I mean, if it was a Hot Wheels, that'd be okay. The Hot Wheels might have been in the budget. The whole rest of the big freaking car probably was not. Oh. There's going to be a lot of green in this quilt, you guys. There's a lot of green blocks in here. So I'm having to balance them. I did get, let's see. Kathy, my mom carried a paddywhack paddle. Oh, gosh. I bet that was terrifying, Laura. Oh, my goodness. I can just imagine. So, my husband has done that before. I just shake my head over it. I kept getting threatened to get my mouth washed out with soap, and it never happened. I never got in that much trouble. I think the threat of it was scarier because it had happened to my brother. But I never had to have my mouth washed out with soap. I think that's as far as I pushed it. Then told me it was a gift to me, and I was living. Oh, I bet, Laura. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness, what has happened to my machine? It has tried to eat my thread. Okay, I got it loose. We'll figure out if it caused any problems. Let's see. Susan says, with toys, my thing was, if a toy was out for 3 days without ever being put away, they went into a box in the garage and stayed until the box got full. Then I'd bring them in and put them away. Kids thought they'd gotten new toys. Oh, Kathy says, oh, that happened. It was nasty. If we tattled, that is what happened. Oh, well, see, it was just me and my brother. So there wasn't really a whole lot of tattling that can happen between just the two. And he was 4.5 years older than me. So it really didn't do me any good to tattle. I was definitely the tattletale type, though. I will tell you that. That would have been one that I got in trouble for. I got in trouble for it at school, but one of the other kids got in trouble for it more in kindergarten than I did. But I learned by her example of getting in trouble about it that, it wasn't a good idea. So I learned not to be such a tattletale at school. I was definitely a tattletale at home. But it is what it is. Let's see. Just lining this up real quick. Let's see. Laura says, honestly, I was a rule follower. My sister, on the other hand, gave my parents gray hair. Oh, yeah. You probably did, too. You just didn't realize it. All my kids gave me gray hair. All of them. Kathy says, I found a big bag of toys in my shed last weekend from when my children were younger. Fun items. My grandbabies will love it. Yes. Absolutely. Now, I did a lot of, one of the things that we ended up having done to us that, as kids was, the not picking up the toys. And my parents went in, gathered up all of our toys, and everything went in these big garbage bags, like big black garbage bags, and sat in their bedroom for I don't know how many days. But believe you me, we were so bored while we didn't have any of our toys because there was nothing left. Now, one thing we did to my son after my husband and I got married, my husband's former military. That should give you a little bit of a clue. But my son didn't want to pick up his room And my husband went in there and he cleaned out and left my son with a bed, clothes, and his furniture. That was all he had left in his room. All of his toys and other stuff was gone. And my son flipped out, but, you know, I think my son needed a reality check. There was a lot going on at the time, though. Let's see. Middle child syndrome is real and strong. Yeah, I bet. I was the baby. There was just the two of us, and I was the baby. Found a whole Lego bus with Legos in it. Oh my gosh, that's crazy, Kathy. We hated the paddle balls. Kids gave us party favors. Mom would cut the rubber off and keep the paddle. Anywhere in the house there was one close. Lived in fear of her and those paddles, I bet. Mine was if Dad was taking off his belt. that was the one that we feared. And my mom told a story. She got in the way. Her sister was getting a paddling. My mom was the youngest of three. My sister, her sister was getting a paddling, or was about to get a paddling with the broom. And my mom walked in the way, and the broom handle broke over my mom's rear end. So my mom would tell us that story, and it kind of made her seem like she was a little tough person, but I don't know what impact that had on whether or not I would misbehave or not. Like, I don't know if that had helped or hurt me for me behaving, just because she could take a broken broom handle over her back end. Oh, that belt was the scariest. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Ours was wait until your dad gets home. And if we had to wait until Dad got home, it was the anticipation of waiting coupled with what was actually going to happen to our hind ends once Dad got home and got told what happened. So there was a lot that went into that one, for sure. For sure. Alright, I think that one will work. Let's see, that belt switch was the scariest. Yes. Yeah, just the whole knowing that the belt was coming. That was the worst part. I'd be crying before that belt came off. Nancy says I'm the middle child. Also, yeah, I was the baby, but I would cry long before Dad got home. I would be all cried out before Dad got home. So it was wait until your dad gets home, and I would have worked myself up and done more damage than my parents could have. Laura says my husband's mom used a paint stick and would spank preemptively. If he was naughty, he'd got it. Yeah. We didn't have that. But I don't know what all techniques, Nancy says, oh, Mama took care of spanking us. Yeah, Mom did too, but, Dad was stronger at it. Katie says, as far as I'm concerned, belt beating is abuse. It's a different generation now than what we grew up in. Do I think that I would do that to any of my future kids? No, I would take different approaches. But can't change the history of what happened. So yeah, it happens. Patricia says good night, Kathy. Oh, she says yes, Kathy. Get some sleep. Get some sleep. Thank you for being here. Thank you. I'm not saying we should continue to do the belt beatings. I'm just saying that that's what happened. That's all. And, it is what it is. Let's see. Susan said, my older sister, the one who pushed the limits. Okay, hang on. Okay, can't see. She'd mouth back to Mom, and Mom told Dad to spank her. She was so defiant. Dad was the one who ended up crying her. I bet. Laura, I was a rule follower, oldest, and my brother was a troublemaker one, and my little sister was a baby. Mom used brushes, spoons, whatever she could grab. Yep. It happens. It happens. Okay. So I issued that pattern out. If you guys have not downloaded it yet, if you have any problems downloading it, let me know. You can send me an email and I will email you back with a copy of the pattern. It is a freebie pattern. I did draw it. So the only thing that I ask is don't resell. Yeah, absolutely, Katie. Let's see. All I ask is that you not resell it. So don't resell the pattern. You know, you can make stuff with it. You can sell what you make with it. Just don't sell a pattern off, okay? But you can make as many as you want, okay? No big deal. It's something that I drew. I want to teach you guys paper piecing. Now, if you have looked at the pattern, who all in the chat has looked at the pattern for the 14th? Who all has looked at the paper piecing pattern? Because there's one key thing that you'll probably notice on it. Ouch, Glenda, yeah, pretty severe. Yes. So one thing on the pattern is that there are no numbers. There's no numbers on the pattern. Linda says, I did download it but haven't tried it yet. What size block does it make? Good question. I'll get there in a second. Let's see. Okay, and Susan's got it. Okay. So the pattern does not have any numbers on it, and you can print it whatever size you want to make it. Now, I originally drew it at, Chloe says she downloaded it, and Pam says has downloaded but haven't gone beyond that. Exactly. Okay, so there's no specific sizing on it. I did draw it using a 6.5 inch ruler. With that being said, it should finish about 6 inches. But with that being said, when you scan it in and then you transmit it over the internet and all of this other, I didn't want anybody to have to, Shelby hasn't printed it yet either, gotcha. I didn't want you guys to have to worry about trying to, okay, good question, Katie. If you look on the community tab or if you look in the Facebook group, there's a link to a freebie paper piecing pattern. We are going to do a paper piecing class on December 14th. I've got the live scheduled, so you can go turn on notifications for the live if you want to be in the live chatting while we are working on it. So if you have questions, I can answer them. So I drew the pattern and oh, perfect, Pam. Yay. She found her Edder Quarter Plus today. Yeah, I need to pull mine out because I'm actually going to use mine for the pattern. So I drew it with a 6.5. Does that mean yours is going to come out 6.5? No. It means that yours is going to come out whatever size you print it. So it could come out 6.5 finished. It could come out 6.25 finished. It could come out 7.5 finished. It could come out any number of sizes. Absolutely, Susan. And that's why I wanted everybody to have plenty of time to be able to get to a place to print. That's why I wanted to make sure I got it out a week before a deadline. At a minimum, if you want to make a completed block that makes sense, if you just want to do one page, you can just do one page, and that will make a small, like 6.5 inch block approximately, or 6 inch finished block approximately. If you print 4 copies, that will give you an actual completed design. So the page, I don't even know where my page is, guys. It is on my table, buried at the moment. So the page has 2 halves to make a square, but you need 4 squares to make the full design that it's going to make. So the 2 halves that are on the page are reverse images of each other. So it's not a very intricate pattern. It's not intricate at all. It is very beginner friendly. But it's going to give you enough experience with playing around with paper piecing that once you get done putting, if you do just the 2, that'll give you a little bit of experience. But if you do all 4 pages and make the 8 blocks to make the full pattern, that will give you enough experience to feel confident going into any other paper piecing pattern you find. My goal with the pattern wasn't necessarily to give you guys something that was super detailed or, you just absolutely had to have or something like that. It is inspired by a pattern that I saw, but I did not copy the pattern, and it's not close enough for me to have to do anything extra with it. Susan says, looking at it, it makes sense on the steps of sewing it. Yes, and it should. That was kind of my intent. I wanted to make it make sense. We're also going to put numbers on it on the 14th. So that's why I didn't put any numbers on it. I wanted, okay, so go to the community tab, Nancy, of my Facebook or of my YouTube page, and there's a link there. And then if you have any problems, just when you click the information about me on the YouTube page, my email is also there as well. And if one of you guys can do exclamation email in the chat, you can also get it there. You can get my email address there too. It is on Google Drive. I know one person was having problems because Google Drive was giving them grief. But it wasn't related to anything that I did. It was just Google Drive being a pain. So if you have any issues with it, just send me an email and I will be more than happy to send you an email with the attachment. So if you want to do at a minimum 1 block, you need 4 copies of the page. Thank you. Thank you, Susan. Oh, negative 55 in International Falls, Minnesota. I'm kind of shocked. That's pretty impressive. It's 31 here. They're saying snow starting in about an hour. I don't think we're going to get that much. We might get like maybe an inch or something. It's not going to be a lot of snow. I'm looking forward to it snowing though. We need some snow. We had wind all day yesterday, so we need some snow now to balance it out. But yeah, so it is completely free pattern. There's no paying for it, anything like that. But I did draw it, and I did not draw it using any software. So I did draw it traditional pen, paper, or pencil and paper, and then I traced it with pen. But everything you need for 1/4 of the block is on the 1 page. 30 where Katie is. Awesome. 30 Fahrenheit. So you need 4 copies of it to make the full pattern. So speaking of size again, 1/4 of it makes about... Oh, you're fine. You're fine. Thanks, Judy. She's like, it's probably me. I'm sure I get a lot of user error. I could break a computer just by looking at it. You're fine. You're fine. I have had days where nothing I have done has gone the way that I intended. So it's definitely me. And then I've had days where everyone around me has had issues. So I think it's my fault that everybody around me has issues. My excuse, you're welcome, Nancy. My excuse is that the computer thinks today is Monday. It doesn't matter if it actually is Monday or not. The computer thinks every day is Monday. So if there is something wrong with the computer, it's because the computer thinks it's Monday. Oh, you're welcome, Susan. She says, I thank you very much for emailing me to give me the pattern. Her phone thinks she has to use the work email I used to have and is no more. Yeah, I understand. I had a problem with email on my phone at one point, and what I had to do was literally go in everywhere Like there's an account section on your phone. I had to remove the email address from there. Like I had to jump through a lot of hoops. And then I think I still end up having to wipe my phone and start over from scratch. Oh, she's already got it. Andrea says that she can email it to Judy if I want her to. I have her email address yet. Nope, I've gotten it to her. So yeah, no, we got that one fixed. But yeah, so here's the thing about, because I think you were the one asking me, let's see, community tab on YouTube page. Okay, just send me an email, Patricia. If you need to do the exclamation email in the chat again to get my email address, you can. Oh, you did get this one, says Pam. Awesome, perfect. Yeah, sometimes Google Docs works and sometimes it doesn't. But anytime that, I can make something that is at least partially, yeah, just print it out normal. There's no set size on it. Welcome in, Katie. Katie from Katie Crafts has joined the chat. So yeah, there's no definite size on it. And that's kind of because I want it to be a learning experience, not necessarily let's worry about all this technical stuff on how to get it this exact size and all of that. I want you guys to learn the technique of paper piecing, and that's what I'm going for, is let's do the technique on it. I'm going to swap this one out. There's too much green in this block. I know there's supposed to be green in every block, but there's too much green in this one. So yeah, just print it out whatever size it comes out. And there is room for trimming. So if you guys need to trim it to a whole measurement after everything's paper pieced, you will have room to do that. There's a little bit of room on there already factored in, and then you can always adjust it as well. You can always also add sashing, which is what I'm probably going to do with mine, is I'm going to add sashing. So, there's going to be a lot of flexibility on it. And so 1/4 of it is going to run about 6.5 inches approximately, which means that the full size block will be about 12 inches, something like that, without any extra sashing or borders or any of that kind of stuff. So we'll go over all of that and give you options. Now, I'm going to work from my stash. What that means is we're going to pull out one of my bins from up top that you guys can't see right now. We're going to pull out one of my bins from up top, and I am just going to pull fabrics. And I might pull some whites for some section. We're going to pull probably some reds, maybe some greens. Just keep it kind of festive. But you can do this block in whatever colors you want. There's no set colorway that you need to do it in. There's no set yardage. So you can make it as scrappy as you like, and it will lend itself to being scrappy. Now, if you're wanting to make a cohesive, full-on quilt, by the time we are done on the 14th, I can give you measurements for what I would recommend that you have in order to make the quilt, or in order to make it how many ever blocks, if that makes sense. Because it's really hard. There's going to be a lot of people who want to do this just to learn paper piecing. And then there's going to be some people who want to learn it, or who want to do it because they already are proficient in paper piecing, and they kind of want to skip ahead. And absolutely, you definitely can if you're comfortable with paper piecing. But I did want to do this kind of to bring in some new people that are new to paper piecing, never tried it before, don't really know what they're doing. And I want to go over how I do paper piecing and how it makes sense to me, because that's usually the biggest struggle when you are starting to learn to paper piece is knowing what makes sense. Because if you can make sense of it, like if it clicks in your brain, then you're golden. Because paper piecing is going to be paper piecing no matter if you're doing this project, if you're doing a legit kit, if you're doing the temperature quilt coming up that will be released by the end of the year. No matter what paper piecing you are doing, once you have it down, once it makes sense in your brain, it's going to be easy to remember. But you have to make sense of it first. And a lot of people are scared to make sense of it. Or because it's paper and because it's all this other, then it doesn't really make sense. And I'm just, I want to bridge that gap, if that makes sense. If that makes sense. We're going to say the word sense how many times tonight? Probably 300. But that's okay. Okay, I got a question for you guys. I got to go get something. Hang on. I'm going to go get something. I got shocked earlier today. Okay. Oh, goodness. Okay. Have you guys ever sewn on or thought about sewing on and doing scrap blocks on catalog paper? This is one of those catalogs, so we were talking about it, gosh, probably a few weeks ago now, and I'd seen somebody, had catalogs or whatever, and they were cutting these pages out to do their paper piecing, like foundation paper string blocks. Do you guys remember that? Do you guys remember all of that? I feel so weird. This is just like crazy that I actually have one of these now. I have my very first catalog book. I do not know how thick this thing is, but if you guys can tell, it is huge. It is absolutely huge. I mean, it's big. Ooh. Chloe says no, but I have concerned telephone books. Yes, Nancy has. Okay. Pam says I have a couple of older phone books. Oh, considered. Yes. Okay. So, my first question. I do not have one of those things to cut this with. Aside from going to Staples and having them cut this, how would you cut all this? How many pages, says Pam. Okay. Let me go flip it to the back. The last numbered page is 3106. Katie says, separating a huge pot of turkey noodle soup into freezer containers, hands are messy. Oh, you're fine. You're fine. So 3,106 pages. And that's assuming that this little section in the middle with the colored pages is not part of, or is part of it. Okay, let me see. 1634... 1630. Okay, so this whole little yellow and blue colored section in here is not part of it. So it's over 3,000 pages without that. Have my husband tear off about 20 pages at a time. Just have Tom carefully, yeah. Okay, so I may have him sit there and do X-Acto knife maybe. I think I'll dull a knife because, I mean, just how many pages there are. I mean, it's stinking huge. Coping saw. Yes, maybe. I don't have one of those. Shelby says, that's lifetime supply. Nope, actually not. Susan says, I've used old phone books. I've used for string blocks. Yeah, right? Linda says that she's done it with the yellow pages and it works well. Use a bandsaw to take the spine off. I don't have a bandsaw either. I don't have any power tools. Like, the only tools that we have like we don't have a heat the binder with a blow dryer. The glue should loosen the pages. That would be kind of up my alley. I might do that. Because I can sit there with a blow dryer. So heat just this glued edge with the blow dryer. And then I should be able to pull this cover page off. Is that what you're saying, Nancy? If I'm understanding correctly? But yeah, so I get to I get to figure out how to break this up so I can start making string blocks. So let me turn this fan so I can feel the air. I'm burning up, you guys. Okay, so yes, okay, I may try that first and see, because that's something I can do. So my friend messaged me, welcome in, William. All right, William, you just missed it. Or you can tell me, did you miss what I was just showing? You got to tell me. If I got to lift it, I got to stand back up to lift it. So, my friend messaged me, and he's coming through town and carrying, and going off to work, and he says, are you in town? I said, yeah, I'm at home. And he's like, well, I've got something for you. And I'm like, oh? He's like, oh, nothing special. I was like, okay. And this is what it was. You missed it. Oh, gosh, darn it, William. All right, fine. You just want to see me stand up. That's all it is. All right. Oh, gosh. William, 3,106 pages, not counting the colored section in the middle. It's one of those catalogs. This one's a Granger catalog. And I don't know how old it is. But he said that his mom almost threw it out and he stopped her. So that he could, because he's like, I know somebody who wants that. I was like, yes, I do. But I didn't know he actually had it. And he had it with him. But he messaged me. And he says, I have something for you. I'm like, oh? So you guys, we are going to do a special project. William says, wow. Oh, no. What did Nightbot hate you for? Oh, stop spamming symbols. Nightbot got you. Sorry, I don't have mods. Nightbot is my only mod. Sorry about that. Let's see what Nightbot hated you for. Chat moderation. Let's go see what that is. Okay. It's not going to show me. Let me go to the logs. There we go. Oh, maybe it's the exclamation points? That's the only thing that makes sense anyway. So maybe Nightbot didn't like all the exclamation points. I'm sorry. Try again. But yeah, so we are going to be doing a special project, you guys. There is a special quilt coming up, and it is a freebie quilt, or freebie pattern that you guys can download. I need to have it done. I originally said by the 5th of January, but I may not have it time. If I ever need a mod, I will help. Awesome. You know what? Let's see if I can make mods right now. Can I do that? Yes, I can. Okay. Let's see. Manage blocked words and change chats live. Yeah, let's do that. Okay. Anybody else who wants to? Any of my regulars, if you want to be a mod. Judy, you should be a mod now. Nancy says, lol, is normally me going to Nightbot jail. Yes, it is, Nancy. You're right. Susan says, my mother used box cutters to cut the pages out of Sears Christmas books for her crafting. That could be an idea if blow drying to loosen glue doesn't work. Perfect. Thank you. I just don't really want to sit there with a knife and cut the pages if I don't have to. So, you know, anything that will save me from having to sit there and do that. Susan, you want to as well? All right. We will do it. We will do it. All right. All right, you two are set up now. So when you chat, it should come up with blue with a little gear thingy, wrench thingy, design little whatevers. I can't talk. I cannot talk, you guys. Oh, I'm now a moderator over on William's channel. Just got to get over there more often now. Oh. Okay. Somehow, I was like, wait a minute, I picked up other fabric. I picked up the fabric that's actually on the piece that I'm sewing, guys. Okay, so the friend that was bringing that by for me, that's on their way out to work, yay! You guys are fantastic. Thank you. That means you got to be here all the time. Or be here more often. Just saying. So, but he messaged me. Y'all have to type. Ooh. That he messaged me and said that he had something for me, but he's the one that I'm making the short notice quilt for. The one that we've got to have, I want to have done by January 5th, if at all possible. So we are going to do a marathon sew. So we're still going to do the New Year's Day mystery via Zoom. I will have that link out. You're fine, Judy. Let's see. Andrea says I did an experiment recently. I was wanting to do some FPP. My printer was close to out of ink. So I printed one copy of what I was doing and tried different things to trace on. I found out, did you trace it using your needle with no thread? Please tell me that that's what you did, because I've heard recently of other people doing that, and it is such a fantastic idea. You're fine, Susan. It's like, I try to be here as often as I can. Yes, absolutely. I've got, let's see, the cheap Walmart paper towels. Oh yeah, I bet they do. They're paper piecing, yeah. I think I would have to fight my husband for the paper towels, though, because he is the paper towel user in the house. So if I started using them for my craft room, I think I would have to fight him for them. I don't use paper towels that much for the house, but he uses them. I mean, like, we buy paper towels mainly because he uses them. We don't buy them because I use them. We buy them because he uses them. So, you know what? Let me sew this one and let me get you guys the link. I'm trying to think of where I've got the link for the pattern. I bet it's on my phone. Let me see. Oh, I know it's on my phone. I know it's there at least. I'm going to put the link in there for you guys for the freebie pattern, the quickie that we're going to do. And I did not design it, so you guys have to download it from the designer. It's published by APQS. Okay, let me share that. Copy the link, and let me make sure I can go into my own chat and do it. We're about to find out. All right, let's see if I can put it in here. Let's see. Hey, apparently YouTube likes me. All right, you guys. That's going to be the freebie pattern that we do. Sometime between New Year's and the 5th, I need to have that quilt done. I've got the fabrics for it already. So New Year's Day, we are going to have a Zoom, and that will not be broadcast out. So if you guys want to join the Zoom, you can. But I will have the link for the Zoom up by probably Christmas Day. I'm thinking I'll have it by Christmas Day. But that pattern, I'm going to be doing that either way. So I'll bring you guys along for the ride. You guys can come hang out and do it with me, or, you know, just watch, or whatever. Whatever. But I figure you guys would enjoy that. But I got to get that one done soon. Pam says, cool, I wanted to do a plaid quilt, right? I thought I was going to be buying plaid flannels. So they work on an oil rig, and they do the man camp thing. So in tissue paper, that things I order wrapped in. Oh, that does work too, Andrea. The shipping tissue paper really works well. So I thought I was going to be buying plaid flannels, and I didn't know what I was going to find when I got to Joann's. I like that. Glenda, she says that she uses freezer paper so she doesn't have to tear any paper away. And I may show freezer paper on the 14th, but I'm not sure yet. We're going to see. We're going to see. So, and I will show how to transfer your pattern from the printed paper to the freezer paper, if I do show freezer paper. So that'll all be shown. But yeah, so they work on an oil rig, and so they're there for 2 weeks at a time on this twin-size bed, and the quilt that they've been using, that he's been using, has been pretty threadbare, pretty worn, and it's really not that big. It's not big enough for those beds. And it's, they're twin-size beds, and the quilt he's been using isn't big enough for that. So to help celebrate, a milestone that happened in his life, I'm going to make him a quilt to get him going on this new chapter of his life. I'm excited for him, and he needs a new quilt anyway, so what better timing than celebrating? Glenda says freezer paper templates can be used over and over again. Yes, they can. Yes, they can. But I'm going to show how to make it simple to copy the template over, so you don't have to sit there and draw it. I'm going to show it. Susan says, unfortunately, New Year's Day, I'll be totally packed to be relocated to the hotel the next day, so I'll have no fabric to sew with. Oh, that's fine. You can come chat. Andrea says, I have a huge light box that used to be an x-ray reader my daughter found in a flea market. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. I almost had a chance at a heat press that was secondhand. They're selling for $50, and I just didn't jump on it fast enough, and it was already down by the time I went to go back to look at it again. Like somebody was jumping on that deal. I really need to shop stuff a little bit faster. I'm one of those, I look at something, I see something for sale, and then I think about it until I convince myself to buy it. And by the time I do that, somebody else has already convinced themselves to buy it too. And it's already gone. Yeah, Susan, if you want to come hang out on the Zoom, just come hang out on the Zoom. You do not have to be able to sew. Judy says, I love my heat press. Yeah, I would love to have one. I would love to have a digitized long arm too. In case you guys are wondering, for Christmas, I wear a size 12 foot or 14 foot digitized long arm. That's my Christmas size. No, I'm just kidding. I don't think one's in my future at all, but, it's still on my wish list. But a heat press definitely would have been nice. I may go scouring Facebook later and see if there's any chance it's still up there at all. I just missed it or something. We can see. Because yeah, absolutely, Susan. She says, I would love to just hang out. Yeah, absolutely. So as of right now, we are still planning. So a lovely lady here, one of my local groups, has offered up her home to host. William, just rub it in. He says he owns a Pfaff heat press and it's amazing. Pam says that she thinks she'll be driving on New Year's Day. Well, if you're not, you're welcome to come hang out too. My freezer paper the size of the regular printer paper and copy. Yeah, I know. But if you're printing off, Susan prints at the library, and I have printed at Staples and all this other, so there's a possibility that it might not be the most feasible option. So this will give a secondary option. That's what we're going for, secondary options. But yeah, so we've got that on the 14th. We've got the beginner paper piecing. William, you are more than welcome to come learn how to paper piece. You are more than welcome. You will not be turned away. Just gonna say. We will convert you to the quilting lifestyle sooner or later. Yes, you definitely can, Glenda. She says, I think you can also buy pre-cut freezer paper. Yeah, you can. I have in the past. It's just so expensive that I don't bother with it anymore. I've got to turn this fan because I can't hold my fabric steady. But it is set. You know what? Let me open my window, guys. Hang on just a second. Hang on. My lady downstairs has her heat blasting. Okay. Window is now open, so we may hear random noise. It's open like 6 inches. Judy, I love it. She says, William, you can even use your tweed. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. We will not discriminate. We'll eventually convert him, you guys. If he hangs out with us long enough. Big Chief tablet paper works well too. I bet. That chef paper. It doesn't iron on though, does it? Like, does it have a waxy side to it? Because that's what we're using at the freezer paper, is it's got the waxy side on one side that adheres to your fabric a little bit. So, what day is the 1st, guys? Can somebody look at the calendar and tell me what day the 1st of January is? What day of the week? Because I cannot think for the life of me what day of the week it is. Because I think the 4th is a Friday. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. Oh, glue stick. Okay, that makes sense. I can see that working. I can see that working. It's just one more thing they'd have to have. I don't have a heat. I do still have a heat bill, but it's not as bad as it could be. I mean, guys, I am in a sweatshirt pulling up my sleeves. And, yeah, I'm still burning up. It's 72 in here. Susan says it's a Wednesday. Okay, so if we're doing the sew all day on Wednesday for the Zoom, then Thursday maybe? I think Thursday is when we're going to do that plaid quilt. Andrea says if I use freezer paper, I do the no-sew on the paper method. Yeah, that's what everybody's talking about too. Doing the no-sew so they can reuse it. I mean, and you can make as many as you want to that way too. Yeah, so I think what we're going to do is Thursday night I've got to be ready for Land That I Love too. We're going to be sewing all day Thursday and Friday. Maybe I'll do an all day on Friday. I'm going to have to get something going. We're going to figure out when I'm going to do that plaid quilt. I mean, it's just a twin size. And I can't give out measurements, but the measurements are free. So if you guys want to join me, you're welcome to. Just that way when you press it, it sticks to cloth, but not like heat bun. Yeah, I know, right? I love that about freezer paper. I have done a freezer paper method for applique. So I don't do freezer paper for paper piecing all that much, but I do it for applique. And that's kind of a non-traditional applique method. A lot of people don't ever talk about doing freezer paper applique because you are using it probably still will be a single use for the freezer paper. But I like freezer paper for applique because you adhere it to the back of your fabric and then you can starch the daylights out of it. And it's not going anywhere. I love that about it. I love that. When I did Tom's Quilt of Valor, I used freezer paper for his appliques for the medallions. I feel like I maybe gave away too many of my squares, but maybe I didn't. Maybe I didn't. We're going to find out. We are going to find out eventually. I feel like I'm like running out of black squares, but I'm not running out yet of the rectangles. But I do remember I do have extra. Like I have 3 extra of the rectangles for each one, I think. So it's not that big of a deal. So that first week of January, guys, we are going to be busy. We are going to be so busy. So busy. Glenda says she's never used it on applique. Yeah, so if you want to give the look of needle turn, that is the most fantastic way to do it. So let's see, Susan says her favorite applique is using freezer paper. Use the freezer paper over and over, yeah, until not sticking well, yeah. So what you do, Glenda, or what I do, when I do freezer paper applique, you of course trace your design on it or print it or whatever, and then you cut it out on the line exactly where you need it, fuse it to the back of your fabric just like you would for any other freezer paper use, and then you can trim your applique pieces to that 1/4 of an inch or smaller that you need. You can clip all your corners. You can, all of that kind of stuff that you would need to do to make your applique fit. And then you can just soak the edges in starch, or you can soak the whole darn thing in starch. Just spray starch all over it. Fold those corners around to the back side. Fold all the raw edges to the back. And then when you press that and it's dry, that applique, you can take that freezer paper out, and that applique is holding its shape. And you can either hand applique it in place or machine applique it. Whatever you are doing, you can do it then. But you do not have to worry about any of your seam allowances getting in the way or getting skewed or anything like that. They're just all exactly where they need to be. Guys, it's 9:20 and we are getting through this stack. I am so stoked. You guys are keeping me motivated. So motivated. And I still have to do my little name tag thing sometime tonight. I got to do that, and then I got to get back to what's hiding behind door number 1. Door number 1 is getting there. I am almost through rows 3 and 4, and then I just have rows 5 and 6 to do. But I mean, everything's assembled except for, final assembly. Susan says for curves as in leaves, I cut with pinking shears before I baste the freezer paper. That's not a bad idea. I just need some spring-loaded pinking shears. I guess that's something I need to add to my wish list. I have regular pinking shears, but they're so hard for my hands. Glenda says always do raw edge, never needle turn as it's too slow. Yeah, this would take the raw edge, or this would take raw edge to the next level. So you can sew it down like it's raw edge, but you'll actually have finished edges. Welcome in, Candace. She says hello, Tammy, and everyone in the chat. Welcome, welcome. Glad you are here. Glad you made it. We are just doing more of these black ones that are up on there. Oh, yay! Andrea, which team were you rooting for? She says that they won. Awesome. She's watching football. You guys are so fantastic. You're just listening to me ramble, aren't you? You guys are all just listening to me ramble. Like, I've got this camera down here for the machine, and I don't think anybody's paying attention to it tonight. I'm not one bit worried, though. You guys are fantastic either way. Alright, let's see. Let's put that one there, and we can do some green. Some more green, because there's so much green in this quilt. Oh, Chiefs. Okay, gotcha. See, I don't watch which ones. I don't watch NFL I I don't watch NFL as much as I watch college football. I watch college a lot more. And it's not that I have anything against NFL. It's just not what I watch. It's not what I pay attention to. I'll put it that way. William said he was going to get me into hockey, and he ain't done it yet. Just saying. Oh. I'm using that needle cutter tonight. I have not been using it with the temperature quilt. Let's see. Nancy says, I'm watching you. It looks like you're doing Y seams. Kind of. Yeah, kind of. It is partial seams. And I got to rip that one anyway. I wasn't paying attention. I got to rip a seam. Alright. So what I got to rip is this black and white fabric needs to be up against the black piece. What was the score, Andrea? It is a question by Chloe. Oh, goodness. I could set this one aside and come back to it, but I'm just going to go ahead and rip it. I prefer pro myself, but teach their own. Yeah, absolutely. I don't watch pro. I think it's because when they started the whole kneeling during the national anthem thing, it kind of soured my attitude. And I really don't have a official stance on it either way anymore. So it just doesn't hold my interest, I guess. I mean, I'll watch it if it's on. Andrew says 19-17. We won by a field goal in the very last second. Awesome. My husband watches the New Orleans Saints. He was stationed in New Orleans when Katrina hit. So the Saints have always kind of been his team. And I don't know what other team he watches. So if he's not watching it, I don't bother. But if he is watching it, I'll watch it with him. So it's up to what he watches. Alright, so now we've got that ripped out, so we're going to flip it. Alright, so what I am doing, Nancy was saying doing Y seams. So what I'm doing is I stitched this almost all the way down. So like about maybe an inch away from the edge. So that I have a full seam up here that I can sew. And I'm going to keep sewing, and then I will come back and finish this seam when I get back down to it. Let me pull this extra thread out of the way so I don't have extra thread caught up in here that I have to cut away later. And I did cut sashing for this. So I do not have the actual black. Glenda says, I love the block you're working on. Very pretty. Thank you. This came from a free to good home pile. We occasionally have people bring in things that they just go, I'm never going to finish this. Please somebody take it home and do something with it. As long as you get it out of my sight, I don't care what you do with it. So we have a lot of that happen in our groups here locally. So this was in the free to good home pile. And all it came with was that picture that I showed at the beginning of the live. That is all it came with, other than the rectangles were already sewn. I don't even think all of them were sewn. I think the first time I pulled this out, you guys, I think I was sewing rectangles. The half square rectangles. Susan says, for once the Seahawks didn't have the normal nail biting last few minutes, we had a good win in Arizona. That's awesome. I'm excited for y'all's teams to win and to move up and all of that kind of stuff. When I followed a pro team, I followed the Dallas Cowboys. Now, let's be realistic. The Dallas Cowboys are they're not the team to beat. They're not a premier team in the NFL. And no, I don't know all the details. I know there was some kind of something or other that ended up in the news at one point. No, I do not know all the details. Okay? Did that matter to teenage girl who was looking at the football players in their uniforms and thought the cowboy costumes were fantastic. No, that did not matter to the teenage girl. So the Cowboys have kind of always been my team from the time I was little, and they've only been my team because I liked the way their uniforms looked. That was it. That is as deep as the brain power behind the decision to have them as my team goes. Okay, that's as detailed as that gets. All right, so I've got all 3 fully sewn. So now all I got to do is come back and finish this little seam right here. And it's a partial seam. It's not technically a Y seam, but it's kind of close because you do typically have partial seams when you're sewing a lot of Y seams. The Y seams are typically at a different angle than this. The true term is a partial seam. But it's close. It's close. But yeah, so my team has always kind of been the Dallas Cowboys, and it's just because, again, I thought their costumes were cute. I knew them as the bad boys of the NFL. I think that's why a lot of people don't like them, Susan. When I first started watching the game Ender Live, I was also working on a quilt. I was not getting much sewing done for yelling at the TV, so I gave up on the sewing. Oh, Andrea, you crack me up. You crack me up. So I had to... Who was I watching? I don't remember who I was watching. I watched a couple of lives today. I don't know if Tiffany went live. I don't know. I think Ian might have gone live. I didn't watch either one of them. Of course, I slept half of the day today. I got up, was not feeling fantastic. We went and did a Walmart run that we needed to do and came home, and Tom looked at me and said, I was looking for, he asked me while we were at Walmart. Okay. This is how brain dead I was earlier today. He asked me what I wanted for lunch. And I completely stopped. Like I was in one of those ride-on carts at Walmart, and I just completely stopped and I just went, I'm sitting there thinking of like what in the heck I want for lunch. And Tom suggested, do you want me to make you grilled cheese and tomato soup? I was like, absolutely. Absolutely. I was like, that actually sounds really good. And our tomato soup was expired. So I got grilled cheese, but I didn't get tomato soup. But then after that, I went and curled up and got in bed. Both did. Ian and Tiffany. Okay. Andrea says, I have 5 brothers. I'm the only girl in the family group on football, basketball, baseball, and wrestling. It is still in my blood. The wrestling I did not grow up on. I never watched wrestling. And I grew up on everything else. The football, basketball, and baseball I watched. That was thanks to my dad. The basketball I actually cheered for in high school. But yeah, so I didn't watch Ian or Tiffany. I didn't watch Shannon this morning. I caught a little bit of it later. I did go catch Kathy's post that she did. I did catch, what's her name? Our Time to Quilt. Maybe Deb? Don't quote me on her name. I can't think of names today. Or I can't think of her name. But the lady over at Our Time to Quilt, I caught her for a little bit. And who else did I catch? I think that was it. I then put it on there's an offshoot kind of video that's kind of along the lines of Say Yes to the Dress. This one was for curvy brides, so brides that don't fit into the typical 6, 8, 10 size, dresses. And it was set somewhere in England or something along those lines. Everybody had British accents. And I know it was somewhere over there. Like, I know that much. I don't even know where it was. I don't even know the name of the show. But I was watching it, and I actually had an epiphany earlier. Guys, I've got too much energy. I've had caffeine. That nap and the caffeine is helping. So I was watching the video, and it was all these different brides coming in, and one of the things that was special about this shop is a lot of the brides that came into the shop really, especially at the first of the episode, or the first of the series or whatever, really had no clue what they wanted dress-wise. Making sure the fan stopped, sorry. They really had no clue. Oh, good night, Chloe. This is my newest one. Have a good night, Chloe. Sleep well. I know this is Sunday night, so Monday morning comes really early. If my tank top wasn't spaghetti strap, like it had like more wide straps, I probably would trip down in my tank top. It is too stinking hot in this room. But I was watching this video with all of these different brides, and a lot of them have no confidence whatsoever in their own bodies, or they've been bullied for their size. Just all of these, things that I resonate with, not only just being a woman, but being a plus size woman. All these things that I resonate with. Welcome. Thank you, Jennifer. She says, going to bed. Hope you accomplished everything you need to tonight. Thank you. We're just sitting and chatting. So yeah, absolutely. We're accomplishing everything. Everything. All the goals. But yeah, so these ladies, come in with, no idea what they want, no idea that they can look beautiful, no idea that they are beautiful, all of this stuff. And I was watching as these two consultants in this show, two bridal consultants, were turning these ladies' lives around and getting them fitted with gowns that not only matched what they should be wearing, but matched their personalities, matched their beautifulness, like however you want to phrase that, but it matched who they were. And these consultants, part of their job is taking the time to give these ladies back the confidence that they have lost. And I was like, that really resonates. That's what I feel like I want to do here on my channel, is I want to take all of these people who come here and come to hang out. I want to give you guys the confidence to see in yourself and to do for yourself all of these big dreams that you have. Like all of these quilting dreams, all of these other dreams, I want you to be able to accomplish them. So I'm hoping that the projects that we do here, I have no idea, Nancy. I have no idea. It's in my YouTube watch history. That's the best I know. It's the first time I've come across this version of it. And I've always kind of watched, like, Say Yes to the Dress. So it got suggested to me because of that. And it's along the same lines as Say Yes to the Dress. It's very much, is this your dress? Is what they asked the ladies at the end. Susan says, time for some herbal tea. Oh, I understand that. So, they're asking that same kind of question, is this your dress? And, sometimes you can just tell. And I feel like that mantra kind of gets lost sometimes on the Say Yes to the Dress show, the very publicized version of the show that we see. And of course, I know that show is also filmed for drama, for the views that they'll get off of it. So I know, you know, sometimes that's what the case is. But it's just, I felt so like rejuvenated watching these ladies learn that they were beautiful, you know, even in their own skin and even in whatever size they currently are. You know, it was really, it was a good experience. It was good. It was a good watch. You know what? Let me see. Let me see if my YouTube history will come up on of Curvy Brides, and it's TLC Australia. Let's see if I can. Oh, hang on. Sorry. Can't do that. Can't do that. Let me see if I can copy. I can copy. And let's go in here and let's see if I can paste. If it will let me paste. Ah, it will let me paste. Okay. That's the random YouTube video, you guys. That's the random YouTube video you guys get tonight. Yeah, it's kind of like Say Yes to the Dress. But it's more heartwarming because these ladies came in with almost no confidence left and then left with a whole bunch of confidence. A whole buku of confidence. Okay, I got 3 left over. So I am at the right number of black squares because that is my last black square. So this will be the last block that we do in black. And then I might get a couple of white ones in. We're going to see. We're going to see. We got like 20 minutes, guys. I'm shocked. We still have time. I'm amazed we still have time. Ugh. But yeah, so that's the show I got caught up watching earlier today. And I was watching that while I was sewing. And I could watch it and sew at the same time, which is incredible. Because most of the time when I'm watching, it is really hard for me to focus and sew at the same time. It is so hard sometimes. So hard sometimes. I've watched that channel. I love their attitudes and accents. Yes, Katie, I do too. I love the British accent. And some of them sounded like they were Irish or Welsh accents. I don't know if I'm right on that, or like Scottish accents. Pam says, sounds interesting. I fell down the YouTube rabbit hole of cold case shows today, too sad, so I had to stop. Yeah. We are watching, Tom and I are watching Homicide for the Holidays. Welcome in, Jess. I still need to get you your Zoom link. I scheduled the live. I need to get that. I keep breaking up my volume. Okay. Let's see if I can. Let's make one change. Properties. Let's see if I can monitor. Okay. Ooh. Not what I was looking for. Okay. Whatever that was did not work. I don't know if it's because it's picking up my sewing machine. I don't know if that's why it's giving me issues. I don't know. Let's see. Anybody else got any feedback on the volume breaking up? Please let me know. Please let me know what I'm missing. Yes, Jess, she says she's a little late, but there's always replay. Yes, there is definitely replay. There's a lot of fun tonight. Let me get my screen pulled back up. There we go. I don't know what to adjust. I don't know. I don't know if it's picking up picking up from outside or what. Yay. Okay, so Jess, the gnomes. You see the gnome guy here? that's what we're going to make. I can send you a supply list. I'm going to go to the store. I'm going to go to Dollar Tree tomorrow morning. So if you want to make one with me, you do need a hot glue gun, and you'll need the supply list. But I'm going to make sure I can get everything at Dollar Tree still before I send you the supply list. Susan says she'll be having another show and tell after Christmas. It's a gift for a family member. There's also a Facebook friend. I want to see it. Oh, absolutely. Oh, Judy says, heck, maybe it's me. I went out and came back in. Okay, gotcha. It could be. You're welcome to be you. So I got caught up watching that show earlier, but Tom and I have been watching Homicide for the Holidays, and we started back at season 1. So we're going to be watching it well after Christmas, and we haven't even gotten through like the 3rd episode yet because I've been so busy sewing. So I'm just glad that it is on Netflix. I think no, it's on YouTube TV. It's not on Netflix. Sounds like a fan. Okay, it could be my fan. I can't turn it off. Katie says sometimes I have to turn my phone off and back on to fix YouTube. Yes, hot glue. Jess, yes, hot glue. There is no sewing involved. There is no sewing involved in making the gnomes. You could sew, but it would be a pain in the rear. So, yeah, no, there is no sewing involved to make these gnomes. And I can send you the supply list for making 1 or for making 2. And that's what I'll do, because I'll make 2. When I make them, I always make 2 because you need a pack of socks. And you always get 2 socks. So I'm just going to make 2. So, yeah. Yeah, I do have... my fan is full blast. We are finally coming down in temperature. It's now 71 in here. Guys, I swelter at 73. Just for reference, I swelter at 73. It was 72 earlier. It is now 71. Alright, all the black ones are done. Woohoo! All the black ones are done. So I got 1 up there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. Okay. So yes, I have 16. When I'm gonna make them, I need the supplies. Gonna make them Tuesday night. On the live. So once we've made them, then like you'll have all the questions answered, so you can replay and make them. Because I learned them off of a tutorial somewhere, and I don't remember where. I have no idea where, so I can't give anybody credit for it. Because I don't know. I don't know where I learned it from. But yeah, we're going to make them Tuesday night on the live. But yeah, we'll go over all of the supplies. I did already put that there's going to be a supply list on the link for the video. So like on the description of the video. So yeah, it's going to be Tuesday night. We're going to do it Tuesday. I'm looking forward to it because I haven't made them in a couple of years. Jess says, I'm ready, Tammy. Just point me in the right direction. Perfect. Yeah, I've got to pull my hot glue gun out. And then I've got to go get the supplies. I was going to make sure, like I said, I'm just going to make sure. Oh, perfect. So we're making them in honor of Pam for her birthday. Because Tuesday is Pam's birthday. Perfect. I haven't made them in a couple of years. Like, I made them back when we were living in Alabama. So it's been a couple of years since I made them. And we're going to to, yeah, we're going to change the order. But, you know, somebody commented on them. I don't remember who commented on them. And I was like, yeah, these are simple to make. So I volunteered myself to make some more. And like I said, it's all stuff that I got at Dollar Tree back when I got it. So we're going to see if Dollar Tree still has everything. And if they do, what I will do in the supply list is I will also add, you know, how you can, like if you need to order any of this, like your local Dollar Tree doesn't have it, where you can get it. Susan says, I'll enjoy watching. Again, the things I need, glue gun, the socks I had from Dollar Tree are packed. Yes, absolutely. Jeff says, yeah, Pam's birthday, perfect. Yes. Yes, I'm looking forward to it. So looking forward to it. I gotta come up with intriguing questions for you, Jess. That's the other thing, is I've got to come up with intriguing questions. There is so much on my to-do list, and my to-do list has not gotten any smaller. The only thing smaller is that I am down, I've gotten 2 rows done, not completely assembled, but almost completely assembled. For the temperature quilt. That's all that has gotten done. I still have the name tag to do for tomorrow. Oh my goodness. December is flying by, you guys. I cannot believe it is already, today's already the 8th. It's already the 8th. Ah. And I got 17 days to get that quilt assembled. Which sounds like I've got plenty of time, but it feels like I don't. I have got 12 lives scheduled between now and when that pattern needs to be released. I did forget to add one thing. If you're going to do the temperature quilt, you will also need fabric for your cornerstones. Because that is not included in any of the other fabric requirements that I've gone over before. So if you are looking to do the temperature quilt, if you're looking at colors, if you want to start planning, you will also need a fabric color and yardage for the cornerstones. You can absolutely make it out of scraps. But you need to set some aside. I completely forgot. Needless to say, I had to send Tom to Hobby Lobby to get fabric. Susan says I have just 3.5 weeks to finish packing. This stinks big time. Yes, it does. I agree. That's kind of my timeline. You've got 3.5 weeks. I've got about 3.5 weeks. That's kind of where we're both at. I'm with you. I'm with you. Alright, let's see what I can dig out of here. And my goal with choosing these is just making sure that I don't have the same fabric sitting right next to each other, and that I get a little bit of variety. I don't want everything to be just green. And there's so much green in this. So much green. And we won't have all of this done tonight, and that's okay. I do have white and black to sash this all with. So we are going to cut everything down after everything. Yeah, I know. That's a lot. Susan says 13 years of accumulations to pack. Yeah, that's crazy. So on the outside of the white, I can put black sashing, or what may end up happening is I may put black sashing on the outside of the white ones. Alright, Pam. She says, well, I'm going to say goodnight. See you all on Tuesday. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Come on. My machine is wanting to give me some bird's nest tonight. I think it's mad at me because I haven't used the thread cutter in a while. I haven't played with it yet lately. I can do it. Yeah. Well, yeah, Susan can do it. Yes, absolutely. I would come help if I lived closer. I needed more warning. Jess is off to bed too. Good night, Jess. Thank you for being here. She says school is calling. Yes, it will be. Bright and early. I am not jealous. What was I going to say? I don't remember what I was going to say. Yeah, tomorrow, thankfully, all I have tomorrow is the party tomorrow night. Tuesday, I get to go for my eye exam. So my eyes may get dilated. Absolutely, Jess. So I've got to go tomorrow to do my shopping because I can't do it Tuesday. And then, what else do I need to do? Oh, Tuesday I've also got PT, physical therapy. And then, what else do I have? Tuesday night, we got the live. Wednesday, I think it's a free day. I don't think I have anything Wednesday. I have a sewing day coming up on Wednesday, I think. Don't quote me on that. I haven't gone to look at the calendar yet. I'm probably going to go out there and look at the calendar and see that I have something. So we're going to see. Alright, this is probably going to be my last one. Glenda says I go to bed around 2 most of the time and sleep till almost noon. I wish I could. Some of these appointments won't wait. I sleep as late as my appointments will let me sleep. I've not had much luck lately sleeping late. Or sleeping later. Alright, so we'll have a few of these left to do. Because we did white last time. So this is giving me 2 more white ones done to add to the stack. So, yeah, we'll have a few left to do. White one done. So I got 2 white ones done tonight. And then all 15 of the black ones that I needed to do are now done. So I do have, like I said before, let me grab it up. I cut sashing, and I think I cut it at 1.5. I think that's about what size it is. Feels like that's what size it is. So I cut black sashing and I cut white sashing, and the strips are long enough that each strip will do a block, and I cut enough to do every block. So I will be able to go around every last block, and we're gonna, does the block have a pattern name? Nope, no pattern name at all. I mean, I could come up with something in EQ for it, but the most I have is that it was off of Facebook somewhere. This is all I have. There's no writing on it whatsoever, so I have no idea where it came from. All of the blocks in this picture are the same direction. So when they cut them and cut half of them the other direction, like they cut them wrong sides up instead of right sides up, it created a problem, and I think that's why it ended up in the free to get home pile. So if you look, let's see if I can hold them. So the black ones, the black and white fabric goes one direction, and the white ones, it is 100% a mirror image. So if I was able to put this black on top of the white, that is the exact, it's a mirror image of each other. And I think that's why it ended up in the free to get home pile, because the people who made it didn't know what to do with it. So with putting sashing on it, that will lessen the the sting of it, if that makes sense, of them matching like they do. Because, I mean, my green triangle here, I know it's hard to see on camera, and my green triangle here match. Like, so it's a reverse image. Linda says, okay, thank you. I think I can make one. Yeah, absolutely. It's just half square triangles, or half square rectangles. And I can tell you that the center square is 3.5 inches. Beyond that, I don't know the rest of the size. Oh, okay. Well, wait a minute. So 3.5 inches. The half square rectangles are 3.5 inches wide. So the length of them should be 7 inches long, 3.5 by 7, because you're going to take 3.5 inches off for the first half and then 3.5 for the second, I think. Or maybe it's 3.5 by 6.5, maybe something like that. So I haven't measured them, but I'm going to trim everything down because not everything is coming out with even seams. And I think that had to do with the way that some of them were sewn before I got it. Or not sewn before I got it. And I didn't know what it was supposed to look like, so I'm guessing. So I think I'm going to do it kind of checkerboard, maybe. Maybe a checkerboard layout. Let's see, Judy says that she's usually in bed at 12:30 and up by 7:30. If the dogs let me sleep to 8, I'm happy. Yeah, right? If the husband would let me sleep till like 9, I'm good. Right now, I don't know. I can work on this next week too. Susan, you're probably right. She says that she thinks it'd be 3.5 by 6.5, probably. So whatever 3.25 by 6.25, or 3.25 plus 6.25 would be is 9.5. So I think it's supposed to come out to be a 9.5 inch block, 9-inch finished. That sounds about like what I think it is. But again, I don't know what size it was supposed to be. I don't know if that was what was intended. But it's definitely, I'm having to create it. Yes, which one? If we are looking for the freebie for December 14th, or are we looking for the one that is going to be right after the new year? Which one are we looking for? Let me know in the comments, because that makes a huge difference. Oh, let me grab my phone in case it's that one. Hi, Lori. Welcome in. We're about to be getting off of here, but there is always replay for whatever you've missed. The APQS. Okay, yes, absolutely. Let me drop that in here. And let me do that through my phone because that's where I've got everything. Let's go to my channel. We are live still. And here we go. All right. There's that APQS link. That is going to be for right after the new year. It is a pattern that looks like plaid when it is done. I am going to be doing mine in flannel solids. So I do have solids to do mine in. Mine are not exact matches. The flannels that the pattern was done in were like modeled printed flannels. I found just plain solid flannels, and I'm not using red. I'm using a green, and I'm not using white. I'm using tan. So those are kind of the two big adjustments to make. I'm also going to make mine larger. The pattern is created for a 71 by 71 inch quilt, which is a square quilt, which is fine, but a twin size bed needs another row added to the top or the bottom. So I'm going to add a row to probably the bottom. It's reversible, so it really won't matter. but I will probably have a lot of my stuff pre-cut, because if I get into the live and start cutting, then I risk giving you guys measurements that I'm not allowed to give you. So, but the pattern is free, so you can go download it. But be expecting that to come up probably January 2nd or 3rd is when we'll be sewing on that, because I need to have it quilted, preferably by about the 4th. Maybe the 5th I think I have until the 5th to quilt it. So I've got a little bit of time to do it, and that's it. Let's see, would make a great guy quilt. A friend in the guild did hers in Moto Grunge fabrics, blues and greens for her son. Yes. So this is a celebration quilt. A friend of mine who works in the oil industry. He got some really good news about a week or so ago, or maybe a couple months ago, and but now everything is in place. The stuff to congratulate him for is in place. So I want to help him celebrate by getting him something new to carry with him. So it's kind of a celebration quilt. So, all right, Judy says, night everybody, see you Tuesday. Absolutely, Judy. I'm going to get off of here, you guys. I need to go take my meds and get that name tag done. Just a little bit of stuff to do. But I will be here Tuesday night. I will have a supply list to Jess tomorrow, and Tuesday night we are going to work on making some gnomes. They are no sew. You do not have to sew to make them. But we will make those on Tuesday night's live. So I will see you